before I start, Mrs. was saying, gave y'all materials, and I just want everybody here to know that you've had my materials for a couple of months, and they're extensive. I don't see them with you, but I trust that you've read them and processed them, and you had some additional materials given to you recently as well. And then just one thing before I start, I'll be referencing North Carolina Department of Public Instruction several times. And since that has 14 syllables, I'm going to be saying NCDPI so that I can have a little more time to talk. So North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, NCDPI, same thing. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Fonseca, Ms. Kaiser, members of the audience. I'll be using my time tonight, as you can see in the talking points, to update you on data about students and options, validation of the book, responses to parent input, update on the alternate, the impact of removing this book, and evidence of student learning. Before I start, I want to refer back to our policy that says use the stated selection criteria to weigh merits against alleged faults to form an opinion based on the material as a whole and not based on passages isolated from content. So you heard a lot of passages. I could read you passages from the book. I could read you a passage from the literature book that's on the House of the Spirits. But we're supposed to look at it as a whole. All right, data and options. Even in the midst of this 5-month-long public controversy surrounding the House of the Spirits, only 4 students this semester have requested an alternate. Only 4. Last school year, 112 honor sophomores read and studied this book with huge success. You have 11 pages, single-spaced, of their powerful and eloquent words expressing what they learned. You see graphs over here on the right that represents 4 semesters. The first 2 are the semesters that I taught the book. The 3rd is the semester that did not get the book because it was on hold. The 4th is this current semester. With all this public controversy, 4 students have requested an alternate. That's all. With 2 years of data, you can see that 93% of students either read the House of Spirits or desire to read it. Please keep in mind that this 93% represents 218 students, which equates to the support and permission of approximately 300 to 400 parents. Early in the semester, I send a 5-page document home, including my 3-page syllabus. Parents must sign and return the syllabus to give permission for their child to read the books, including the House of the Spirits. I have always used a much more restrictive opt-in requirement than is used elsewhere in the state, where parents do not even have to sign a permission form. And all of you have seen the syllabus, and you've seen my updated syllabus as well. Students do not have to read this book. We provide many options, and we work with parents. Number 1, a student may take honor sophomore English and read and study the House of the Spirits with thoughtful, guided, direct instruction. Number 2, a student may read the alternate. The alternate plan is solid. The National Council of Teachers of English reviewed my alternate plan and said it is excellent. Even so, we are looking for ways to improve it. Number 3, a student may take 204 English in a seated class, although some students do not want to lose the extra quality point that comes with an honors class. Number 4, another option students have is to take honors English with North Carolina Virtual Public Schools and keep the extra quality point. Almost 100 students take classes online here at Watauga High School. Most of these classes are honors and AP. The instructor for the online classes is a certified English teacher. So a student has multiple options. Take 205 English and read the book, take 205 English and read the alternate, take 204 English, or take English 2 honors online. To remove this book from my curriculum undermines the parental authority of 93% of the parents who want their children to read the book. Please vote to fully retain this book in the sophomore honors English curriculum. Students are not required to read the House of the Spirits. No student at our high school has ever been forced to read a book. We are a high-performing high school. We have been doing things right for decades. We have the best teachers in the state. Please keep this book in the honors sophomore curriculum and reestablish an environment of confidence for our teachers that will allow them to continue the amazing job they are doing. I know that we do not want this atmosphere of fear and insecurity to continue. We do not want our teachers to self-censor or to be in fear of losing their jobs. Do the right thing. Allow the 93% of students who desire this book to do so. And do not allow a unit to be kept on hold for 5 months because a parent objects. This interferes with the rights of all the other members and parents and students. Number 2, validation for the book. This book has been vetted extensively. It passes every test for appropriateness in the honors sophomore curriculum. Listen to the evidence from North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, from Glencoe McGraw-Hill, from the AP program, from the International Baccalaureate program, from the international literary community, and most importantly from my students. The evidence is concrete, factual, specific, and rock solid. The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende is recommended by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. Common Core curriculum maps for English language arts is recommended as a valid and reliable resource for implementing the Common Core state standards. NCDPI clearly does not consider this book pornographic. Our English Department Common Core leader was instructed by NCDPI to share this resource with her English department and instruct us to use this resource with confidence in implementing Common Core standards. The House of the Spirits is included in this resource as an exemplar text and is recommended for all sophomores, not just honor students. It is the first book listed in the Latin American unit. Honestly, this one piece of evidence should be enough. Our job as teachers is to follow the curriculum established by NCDPI and implement the training provided by them. Teachers should not have to defend a book that North Carolina recommends. Another important aspect of this book is the high level of reading challenge it presents. 2 key words in Common Core are text complexity. As teachers, we are required by North Carolina to provide our students with literature selections that are complex and at a high level of challenge. The Lexile Framework for Reading is an educational tool that uses a measure called a Lexile to match readers of all ages with books. A Lexile reader measure is a student's reading ability. A Lexile text measure is a book's difficulty and challenge level. If a book's Lexile level is 1080, this generally means that most students in the 10th grade should be able to read and comprehend the text. But we are not talking about most students here. We are only talking about the 30% of sophomores who take honors English. NCDPI states that the literature Lexile range for all sophomores should be 1080 to 1305. To help you understand this in relation to my students, all North Carolina sophomores receive an individual Lexile reader measure when they take the English 2 end-of-course exam. Our standard level sophomores have an average Lexile score of 1090. My honor sophomores have an average Lexile score of 1590, 500 points higher. My students need and deserve challenging and difficult literature. As teachers, we are obligated to follow North Carolina state standards, and they clearly state that Lexile should be in the range of 1080 to 1305. Finding a title at a high Lexile level that does not contain some adult content is incredibly difficult. The House of the Spirits Lexile is 1280 and Moby Dick is 1230. We are using Moby Dick at this time as the alternate because of its Lexile score, its importance as a classic work, the important themes that the work addresses, and the fact that no parent in our school has ever objected to the content. Not yet. All teachers in North Carolina are professionally obligated to adhere to Common Core, Lexile score, and all other aspects of our state standards. We are hired to do this. It's our job. But NCDPI is not the only authoritative source. A selection from the House of the Spirits is included in our new state-adopted Glencoe McGraw-Hill textbook, which is used throughout North Carolina. Textbooks and anthologies are considered conservative. Any text highlighted as a selection in a state-adopted textbook is deemed acceptable for all students to read in its entirety. Clearly, Glencoe McGraw-Hill does not consider the House of the Spirits pornographic. The House of the Spirits fits the statewide sophomore grade focus on world literature, including Latin America. Please keep in mind that North Carolina mandates the literature sequence. 10th grade is World Lit, including Latin America. 11th grade is American Lit. 12th grade is Western European Lit. This book has been taught for over 30 years. It is taught throughout North Carolina, including Sampson County, Orange County, Wake County, Asheville City Schools, Chapel Hill Carrboro, and Charlotte Christian School, as well as in schools across the country and the world. We truly have a great high school with excellent teachers, an outstanding English department, excellent leadership, and a stellar record of being near the top in the state in test scores. We rank number 3 in ACT scores. The only 2 school systems that have higher ACT scores than Watauga High are Chapel Hill Carrboro and Asheville City Schools. Isabel Allende's works are taught in these systems and have been for years, and not as optional reading. They are taught in a seated classroom by the teacher with direct, thoughtful instruction. For example, John Gillespie, an English teacher at East Chapel Hill High, has taught the House of the Spirits to honor sophomores for 17 years. He has never had a parent complaint and never been asked for an alternate. Our honors AP students compete with these students from Chapel Hill, Carrboro, and Asheville for entrance into competitive colleges and universities. They compete with these students for the Moorhead Kane Scholarship at UNC Chapel Hill and the Park Scholarship at NC State. Our honors students at Watauga High School deserve the right to read the same literature their peers in Chapel Hill and Asheville read. The AP program includes Isabel Allende as a recommended author to study. I am required to prepare my students for the next level, which is a college class junior year. AP courses are approved by the College Board. Students are tested by the College Board. My honors course that leads into AP must meet the AP criteria. Allende is cited by the College Board as a writer who prepares students for the type of in-depth analysis needed to succeed in AP classes. The AP curriculum clearly does not consider Allende's works as pornographic. This book is also recommended by the International Baccalaureate Program and is taught in International Baccalaureate high schools in 146 countries. 146 countries. We want our students to be global learners. Isabel Allende is the world's most widely read Spanish language author. We want our students to read the same text their peers throughout the world are reading. The International Baccalaureate Program clearly does not consider this book pornographic. The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende is a work and author of literary merit recognized by the international community. Isabel Allende is not only recognized, she is renowned, and the House of the Spirits has received multiple Best Novel Awards. Ms. Allende has received over 50 literary awards and over 30 humanitarian awards. In all of my research, I have not found another Latin American author with as many honors and recognitions as Allende has earned. Clearly, the international community does not consider this book pornographic. It has gotten multiple Best Novel Awards. Even so, it is the message of Isabel Allende that is the most important. In all of the books I teach to my honors sophomores, the themes of family commitment, integrity, and education are prominent. In Allende's The House of the Spirits, my students are immersed in these values, as well as in understanding the importance of strength and resilience through adversity and the power of forgiveness. They not only come away from our unit as better readers, they come away as better citizens of the world. In about 2 weeks, representatives of SACS Advanced Ed, which means, of course, Advancing Excellence in Education Worldwide, will visit Watauga High School to determine if our accreditation is renewed. I'm very concerned that when members of our faculty, all of whom are very aware of this book controversy and the hold on the unit, are interviewed, we may be found out of compliance. Indicators 2.3 and 3.1 are especially concerning. In my research, I read that in Wake County and in Burke County, the boards of education were cited, not the high schools, as being out of compliance. This accreditation is a really big deal. North Carolina universities recommend that applicants come from accredited high schools. They see very few candidates who do not come from accredited schools. If Watauga High School loses our accreditation or is put on probation, that would be devastating to our college-bound students, as well as devastating to the reputation of our incredible high school. Number 3, responses to parent input. Mrs. Hussain has said that she is not being heard and that there is no place for parents. Her voice was heard by the Board of Education during her public comment at the October 14th meeting. And the result is that the unit was shut down 3 days before I was to begin teaching it. 3 days before I was to begin teaching it. And 114 students this school year are not getting this challenging unit. I have heard her voice, and I have thoughtfully reflected on her points and implemented many of them. Allow me to share with you all the changes I have made based on Mrs. Lassane's request. She expressed a concern that parents do not have enough information about the books. I added 6 websites to my Fusion profile page and to my syllabus with the suggestion that parents use these as resources to learn about unfamiliar book titles. I included a detailed attachment to my syllabus explaining the official book challenge against the House of the Spirits, including that the book contains adult content. I set up an entire web page on Fusion entitled Information for Parents Regarding the House of the Spirits. The attachment to my syllabus explains this and encourages parents to review the extensive documentation posted on my web page. I want to reiterate here that even with all this public attention and all this additional information on my syllabus and Fusion page, only 4 students this semester have asked for an alternate. Also, at the district committee meeting, Mrs. Lassane said, there are other books, there are tons of other books. I would love to be a part of that process, to be able to say from a parent's point of view, hey, what about this and what about that? At a prior meeting with Mrs. Lassane 4 months ago on October 29, Mrs. Stallings and I sincerely invited her to send us Latin American book titles to consider for the alternate. She said she had She said she had some and would send them. We invited her again recently and have yet to receive any book titles. We would still welcome parental input. Our English department also listened to Mrs. Lassane. We added extensive additional information on our department Fusion page about our book selection process, how we determine which books classes will read, and other information she requested. We are not inflexible. We are very willing to listen to, meet with, and respond to parents. I have listened to Mrs. Lassane. I have encouraged her to be a part of the conversation, and I've already implemented many of her suggestions. It is difficult to understand what more I can do as a teacher without adversely impacting the education of my students. Update on the alternate. Mrs. Lassane's original complaint has 2 parts. Number 1, objection to the use of the House of the Spirits, and number 2, objection to the services offered as an alternate. The board policy regarding a challenge uses the words resources, items, and material. Nowhere within the board policy is teaching methodology included as grounds for reconsideration of resources. The district committee recognized this. In their report, they unanimously recommended to fully retain the House of the Spirits in honors sophomore English. They did not address the issue of the alternate. They said that is a matter to be discussed and resolved at the school level by the principal and the English department. I do, though, want to update you on my continued research to find a suitable book to use for the alternate. I contacted Augustus Pena, Director of Multicultural Student Development at ASU, and Dr. Magdalena Mayes Pena, Professor of Hispanic Studies at Davidson, asking them for suggested Latin American titles to research. We have researched, our department and myself, we have researched 40 titles, and not one of these novels, even at a very low Lexile level, and keep in mind we are looking for something around the 1200 level, will pass the no material to which a parent might object test. This is the document. I can get it for you if you like. 40 Latin American titles we have researched, and all, and I have it highlighted, all have material to which a parent might object. How can a school system provide a challenging honors AP English curriculum and only select books that contain no material to which a parent may object? Number 5, school-wide impact of removing this book from the curriculum. Please understand, removing the House of the Spirits from the sophomore honors curriculum will open up a floodgate of official complaints. All a parent has to do is complete a 1-page report and potentially stop a unit, disrupt a teacher's scope and sequence, and prevent students from learning. Now that the precedent of shutting down a unit, in this case for 5 months and perhaps more, has been established, will not every parent who has a complaint expect the same? And if this book is removed from the curriculum, will not every parent expect that same result? I want to show you a list. These are the most frequently challenged book titles according to the National Council of Teachers of English. The titles that are highlighted in red are ones that are currently being taught at Whitaker High School or have been taught here in the past. This list includes Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Aqua on the Western Front, The Book Thief, Canterbury Tales, Catcher in the Rye, A Christmas Carol, The Crucible, Hamlet, Of Mice and Men, A Separate Piece, To Kill a Mockingbird. There will always be one parent who objects to one something in one book. That is why we offer alternates whenever a parent makes that request. If you accept an official complaint for even a small percentage of these books, the educational system at our fine high school will be further disrupted, and our students are the ones who will suffer. And not only books will be challenged. If you remove this book from the honors sophomore curriculum, you have opened the floodgates for all disciplines. What is to prevent a parent from wanting material removed from the curriculum in healthful living, science, art, social studies, or another discipline? Now that a precedent has been set for an official complaint including something other than an item, material, or a resource being challenged, what is to prevent a parent from filing a complaint against a club to which a parent may object? We have a really great system in place. We offer alternates. Students can take a different English class. Students can take honors English online and keep the quality point. If you remove the House of the Spirits from the curriculum, even if you leave it in the library, you have gone against rock-solid evidence from North Carolina and other educational experts who deem the book appropriate for honor sophomores and who clearly don't consider it pornographic. NCDPI mandates that the literature sequence must be 9th grade genre study, 10th grade world lit including Latin America, 11th grade American lit, 12th grade Western European lit. If you say the book cannot be taught to sophomores but can be taught to juniors or seniors, you have not only removed it from the curriculum because junior level is American lit and senior level is Western European lit, which means the book will not be taught. You have also gone against the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction literature sequence and the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. The faculty at Whitaker High School is exemplary. The English department at Whitaker High School is exemplary. Our department exhibits professionalism and integrity in every aspect of our work. We are highly trained and dedicated. 36% of our department is National Board certified, compared with 3% nationwide. English teachers are on our hall from 7 o'clock in the morning until after 5 o'clock and much later every day. Then they work at home for hours on weeknights and weekends. We would not do this work if we did not care deeply and compassionately for students. We would never select any book that would harm a student. We always offer alternates and have done this for decades. Please respect our professionalism and the professionalism of every teacher in our school system. Number 5, the book and my students. This 5-month-long book challenge was initiated by a parent who objects to the adult content in the book. The excerpts she submitted to you represent 1% of the text, 1% of the entire text. These excerpts contain sexual and violent content. Of course it is a valid concern for a parent to question how this material will be covered in class. You have extensive documentation in your materials that you have had for a while of my lessons and my sensitive approach to this material. Dr. Michael Rich, Associate Professor of Pediatrics at Harvard Medical School and Director of the Center on Media and Child Health at Children's Hospital Boston, Harvard Medical School and Harvard School of Public Health, states that desensitization occurs when media content containing sex or violence is taken as is without framing a deeper conversation, or when it is used for entertainment alone, as in a film. It is not the content itself that desensitizes, it's how kids make meaning of the content. However, when young people engage, he continues, with violent or sexual content in thoughtful and critical ways, the effects can be quite different and quite positive. In fact, when contextualized as part of a thoughtful discussion and real engagement with some of the issues, portrayals of violence or sexual abuse can sensitize young people to these issues, can help them become attuned to some of the all too common and difficult parts of human behavior. It can increase their empathy, perhaps in contrast with much of the other media. Dr. Rich responded specifically to our controversy here in the House of the Spirits with these words. In this case, it sounds like the teacher is using this book in a way that she can really do positive things for her students. She's not only engaging thoughtfully with the themes and the difficult content, but she's actually connecting it with issues that are occurring in these students' community, connecting it to real people and real problems. I handle the difficult adult content in this book, and in all books that I teach in a thoughtful, responsible manner. I treat my students with respect. In your documentation, you have 11 pages single-spaced of my students' writing. These pages show passionate evidence of what my students learned through my guided, professional, thoughtful teaching. These documents alone should be enough to convince you of the value of this book in sophomore honors English. I will read you the words of 3 of my students who read and studied this book last year. From an essay, the reader learns that the House of Spirits represents a greater theme about forgiveness and justice. Allende tells the reader that seeking revenge for a perceived wrongdoing leads to a cycle of injustice, which can be broken only by forgiveness. When people forgive those who have wronged them, they break the chain of injustice and ultimately make themselves happier by releasing hatred. Allende tells us that we have to break that chain and forgive those who have wronged us. The next 2 statements are from students who responded publicly to this book challenge. I had the joy of being taught The House of the Spirits by Mrs. Whitaker last year. Never once did I feel uncomfortable in class discussing these issues. These issues go on in the real world. This book brings truth into the light. Censorship of great books in the classroom doesn't protect our students, especially when the material is being taught in the right way. And a final student response. This book does not glorify terrible acts in any way. Banning this book from young adults only masks the truth. So before justifying such a rash action as censoring this book, we must ask ourselves, do we wish to ignore the hardships which people so valiantly endured? Shall we protect our peers from the truth so that they may be blissfully ignorant? No, we should not. For intelligence is the power to build and rebuild, to take the past and bring it forth, so that we know of such wrongdoings in a way that does not corrupt, but rather enlightens. I do not feel corrupted in any way by this book. My honor students are mature, highly intelligent, thoughtful, insightful, and informed. Do you really want to prevent them from reading the same literature that their peers are reading in North Carolina, the United States, and the world? Please let the 93% of my students who want to read The House of the Spirits read the book. Please let the other 7% of students who do not want to read this book read the alternate, take 204 English, or take Honors English online. To borrow the words of our student body president, Patrick Williamson, do not make Watauga High School students have to fight for their education. You know that 93% of parents have given permission for their students to read this book. That is an overwhelming majority. In 2 years, only 7% of students have requested an alternate. Students have multiple options if they choose not to read the book. No student is required or forced to read The House of the Spirits. Let's agree to keep Watauga High School great. Respect and trust your professional educators. Keep The House of the Spirit in the sophomore honors curriculum. Let us explore ways to make the alternate better. That is a valid discussion. But that is not the issue and the decision you are faced with tonight. You must decide whether to fully retain The House of the Spirits in the honors sophomore curriculum. You have extensive validation from North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, from the International Baccalaureate Program, from the AP program, from Glencoe McGraw-Hill, from the international literary community, from teachers throughout North Carolina who teach this book, and most importantly, you have the evidence of student learning from students who have read and studied The House of the Spirits. 2 board-sanctioned committees, the school committee and the district committee, voted unanimously to retain this book fully in the honors sophomore curriculum. But let's take this beyond my students in my classroom, because this issue is something much bigger. You know that there is an atmosphere of insecurity and fear among teachers at Watauga High School. You know that 11 teachers received hate mail that is under official criminal investigation. Prevent this atmosphere of hate and fear from continuing. Restore this world-renowned novel to the sophomore honors curriculum and demonstrate your trust and your belief in your professional educators. Let us teach. Do the right thing. Restore the freedom to learn and the freedom to read for our students. Do not deny them the freedom to explore ideas and pursue truth. All of our students have the right to read and the right to learn. It is your job as a publicly elected Board of Education to save our school system right now. Preserve the academic integrity and the academic excellence of our school system. Let this be your legacy. You have the power to do this. I implore you to make the right decision.
Ms. Whitaker. We are about to have